So back in my previous incarnation as a school teacher here in Japan, those many years ago, I, as one of my gigs, was teaching at a kindergarten, where one day there was the 4 and 5 year olds were creating little flags because there was going to be a marathon race in the town. It was a big deal, so they were going to stand and cheer the racers on. So they had to color these flags, and it was I think a free coloring activity. It was just basically a square piece of paper or a rectangular piece of paper they could color any way they want. So they're coloring them like 4 and 5 year olds would, just making random scribbles and swirls of color. But one of the little girls, obviously naturally talented and careful, was carefully coloring a very beautiful little rainbow pattern, very carefully making little sections into different colors, and it looked very nice compared to the random scribbles of the other children. And I watched as they were all doing this activity, and then I saw as the girl next to the girl that was doing the nice rainbow pattern looked over and saw how beautiful that rainbow pattern looked, and then looked at her own drawing and saw it was just a random mess of scribbles and didn't look very good at all. Even a 4 or 5 year old can see the difference. And I could see the gears turning in this little girl's head as she saw this, and obviously was jealous and maybe somewhat ashamed of her own scribbles and how it was obviously such a better drawing. You could see that she was getting frustrated and angry about this, and then of course inevitably she takes one of her crayons and starts scribbling all over the beautiful flag that the other girl was drawing. That moment stuck in my mind as a moment that describes something about human nature, or at least the worst part of our human nature, which is, of course, jealousy, greed, our wish not just to be as good as someone else, but our wish for their thing that they have created to be as bad, as ugly, as messy as ours. It's not just that we want to be up at someone else's higher level, we want to drag them down to our level. And that, again, I think is an important thing to understand. It's an important moment because to me, that very amply describes the way that the powers that shouldn't be, the psychopathic, disgusting criminals that have commandeered the highest levels of power in the world, not just governmental, but financial and corporate and economic in various ways. That is their mindset and mentality. It is not, of course, about creation. It is not about the creation of beautiful things. It is not about lifting people up to a higher level. It is not about aspiring to be at a higher level. It is about trying to bring everyone down. It is easier to destroy than it is to create. It is easier to be jealous and greedy and hate the other person than it is to create something beautiful of your own, or to appreciate what you have, or to appreciate someone else for the gifts that they have without being jealous and without hatred. So, unfortunately, because this is a fundamental part of human psychology, it is all too easy to play on that and to get people hating each other by inciting that moment of scribbling on the flag, as it were. And I think that's where we're at. I think it's pretty safe to say that's where we're increasingly at. As I've talked about before, I posed the question the other day and I left it open. If we are being programmed to hate, then how does that look in the online outrage culture, and what are the alternatives? How do we avoid that? So as I record this, it is Tuesday, November 8th, 2016 in the United States. It's currently Wednesday the 9th here in Japan, and the results are still coming in, so I don't know which of the faces of the oligarchy are going to be wearing the mask for the American empire over the next 4 to 8 years, but I do know this, that whatever happens, there is going to be a divided public that hates the other half of the population. And there's going to be a lot of hatred. There's going to be a lot of people pushing those buttons of hatred, and there's going to be a lot of ugly incidents that could occur, but don't have to occur. And that's really my message for you today. The new world order that the psychopathic elite want to create is predicated upon people hating each other, hating those around them, hating those that they disagree with, with just hatred in your heart, because hatred fundamentally puts you in a place where you are reacting to what other people are doing rather than acting. It's the little girl realizing that, oh, she's doing something great, I want to destroy it, rather than focusing on what you yourself are doing, what you can do to better them, what you can even do to appreciate what other people are doing rather than destroying it. These are some big topics, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who don't want to hear it and who can't understand what I'm saying right now, but I think in the long run, whatever happens today, over the next year, over the next 4 to 8 years, over the next 50 years, whatever happens, there will be something on the other end of these times that we're living through. However crazy they may seem right now, there will be a humanity on the other side, and the question is, what kind of humanity do we want on that other side? Do we want a humanity that functions on hatred and division and hating the other and wanting other people to be destroyed and their creations and works destroyed? Or do we want to lift each other up as a society? And that's up to us. That isn't up to whatever political puppets or financial elite or string pullers. You are not powerless people just at the whim and mercy of these big forces. You are an active person who is actively creating your life. And you can choose to create that from a position of love, or you can choose to create that from a position of hate. I know which side I stand on. I stand on the side of love. I hope you'll join me. That's it for this heady edition of the Corbett Report. I'm James Corbett at CorbettReport.com. I hope you'll join me again very soon.